Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Hope everybody's wonderful. You know, it's a neat thing to think about, the fact that God knows each one of us. And you know, and I realize those of you who have known me a long time, or maybe you're just getting to know me, I'm not afraid to stick to one subject for a period of time, even if it's just one word for a period of time. And here's why. If you're anything like I am, I never learn anything the first time I hear it. In fact, I have a difficulty learning anything the number of times I not only hear it, but experience it and feel it. And then in different seasons of my life, it comes back, you know. There have been moments in my time, and I'm not that old, although I'm getting older, as you can see the grays, right? There have been times in my life where I was really comfortable in my own skin, where I really loved how I've been made and appreciated aspects of who I am. Then there's seasons in my life when all of a sudden that just seems to go away, where I'm frustrated, you know. I get frustrated, just like, one of the hardest things in the world for me to do is to sit down and do anything, right? I've had to teach myself to be still. Now, I rejoice in the fact that I'm ADHD. Yeah, if you can imagine. Most people have to work with me, live with me. They may not be rejoicing in that, but I've had to learn to rejoice in it. But there are still aspects of who I am that frustrate the living daylights out of me, right? There's so many things that I would love to write, but I can't make myself sit for more than 3 minutes. There's so many, you know, I would love to be able to think while I'm being still, but instead I have to be moving, right? Great ideas never come to me unless I'm in the shower, I'm on my scooter, I'm somewhere where I can't sit down and write, or sit down and think, or sit down and ponder, and I have to just be moving. And those are frustrating things. And sometimes I ask God, why have you made me this way? Why have you made me the kind of guy that just drives people bananas, right? Whether it's the amount of energy that I have, how many thoughts I think, how deeply I think, how long I stay on. It's right? Anybody else feel that way? So periodically, what I'm asked to do by God is to sit down with him, ride my bike with him, my scooter, take a walk with him, whatever it is that somehow moves me, right? And gets me to take that time. And to just rejoice, to just find joy. Joy in him, joy in his creation, joy in my making, even joy in the suffering. There's so much of it. There's so much of it. You know, again, if you've hung around me very long, I talk about suffering in a lot of different ways, and most of them are actually pretty real. And the reason they're so real is because there's so many things we suffer that we don't think about it being suffering. Longing, tired, itchy, a cough that you can't quite stop, discomfort, humidity, cold. Think about all the things in this world that are actually uncomfortable, that bring discomfort. Those are all elements of suffering, right? When I learned to rejoice in the fact that I am my Father's son, and I have something to look forward to in the future that is a release from all the suffering. What does he say? All the suffering, all the death, all the ill sickness, the curse itself will be gone. We will reside with him in eternity in bliss, without discomfort. It's pretty astounding. In the meantime, what I do is I recognize the earth is not my home. It will be, but it's not right now. And so for me, the time ought to be spent to go, okay, Father, what can I be grateful for in the midst of all of this? Why suffering? Well, because that's what he uses to make me like him. If love is patient, then what I need to recognize is my sojourning on this earth, my walk here in the midst of the suffering, is my learning to love God patiently. That he's guiding me on this path, he's walking me through difficult times, even the consequences of my own sin. And he's saying to me, walk with me, be patient. These are the things I'm using to form you into my likeness. These are the things that I'm using to temper you. These are the things that I'm using to grow you. Even when you try to put, I wear 5-finger shoes, right? Sometimes I have a toe that gets stuck. And when you've put it on 3 or 4 times and you're still fighting with your shoe, there's frustration that comes with that. Do I recognize that as a moment to actually smile and laugh and say, okay, Father, what is it that you're using this thing for right now? Is it to develop patience? Is it to cause me to bite my tongue? Is it to teach me how to laugh in the midst of difficulty? Is it to tell me to slow down and be more deliberate? Is it to make sure that I understand that people are watching me and how I respond even to this tiny little moment? And they're watching certainly to see how I might respond, but they're also watching in a way that's going to teach them, that's going to show them, that's going to reveal to them. So I want to be really short this morning. There are a couple of verses that we've looked at that I want to return to, that really what I want us to do is leave with the challenge to take an inventory. A couple of things we can do today. One is, will I allow myself to be cognizant of God's presence in the middle of discomfort, dis-ease, even true suffering, to see his hand in it? Not that he's making us suffer, but in the midst of this fallen world, in this sinful world, we're going to suffer. He's longing to redeem the moment, to use it as a tool, to see us grow in the midst of it, developing our character, our stature, our maturity, our ability to love him, and to love self, and to love others. Will I take each moment and do that? Will I do an inventory to say, okay, if I am, as Psalm 139 puts it, verses 13 to 16, when he says, for you created my inmost being, and you knit me together in my mother's womb, and I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Will we take an inventory today? Will we take the opportunity to listen to his still small voice and let him share with us why he has made us the way he has? How every one of my attributes is an expression of his goodness, his wisdom, his creativity, his plans and his purpose. And what he's longing to do is to see us rejoice in him and our making, and to be at peace with him, content in our current status, to walk with him in such a way as to grow us up, and to teach us how to accept and then appreciate what it is we've been made to be, and then to excel in it, because we see, no, this was no mistake, and God, I will receive what you've made me to be, and I will hone it and shape it and use it to your glory and for the benefit of others, to be kind or useful in my loving. Yeah. So he said, for I created you in my inmost being, and you created me. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I am a wonder, not because I've declared myself a wonder, but because you have made me in a wondrous fashion, and you have declared me a wonder. You have declared my value. What did he pay for me? Jesus. Where did he place me? In the midst of his body. For what purpose? To edify the rest of it. How precious to him is the body of Christ. How precious to him is the bride of his Son. How precious to him are those who will be seated at the banquet table in the last times, in eternity. Am I one of them? Am I precious to him? And then has he designed me in such a way as to bless those others who are precious to him, and that they would bless me, who he's declared precious and priceless and cherished. Is that how we view the body of believers? Do an inventory. Ask the question, Father, why have you made me the way you have? And why have you placed me where I have? And why have you put me with whom you have placed me? And how might I receive how you've made me and allow you to shape and form me in the midst of my suffering? And though certainly there is difficulty in the suffering and hurt in the suffering and questioning in the suffering, may I see through them and rejoice in what it is you're making me, that I would anticipate with great confidence that you are forming me into the likeness of Christ, that I am a better lover of others because I've been through this. I am a better minister to others because I have been through this. I am more complete and mature and in greater stature. My character has been shaped. My faith has been deepened because of this moment. Will I be patient? Will I seek God? How have you made me? Show me how wondrous. You, with your fingers, knit me together. You, with this wondrous plan, you have made me. You, with this great anticipation of the bride's development and purification, an anticipation of your son, in essence, getting married. Father, how is it that you thought I was worthy of a place at that table? This is not self-deprecating, it's not self-help, it's not psychobabble. It's truly receiving what it is God has offered us, given us, and what he's offered in us, and by us, and to us, to receive from him what he says about us, that we now would not be haughty and proud, because love doesn't boast. If you go on in 1 Corinthians 13, it is not proud. In other words, it doesn't see itself. It's not self-inflated. It's not self-important. It doesn't see itself as better than everyone. No, stop. It receives humbly what God says about it. Beloved, precious, cherished, wondrous, purposeful, valued. Is that who we are? Will we receive what God says about us? Because that's when we learn to love others well. That's when we learn to rejoice in God and have loved him well. What does it say? Love the Lord God with all your heart, mind, soul, body, strength. Am I willing to love him because he's made me the way I am? According to his plan, his purposes, the way he wants me? Because he knows that's what's good and best and wise and loving and effective. Do an inventory this weekend. Take some time to consider how it is that God has made you, and be awestruck. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I am awestruck.